okay, but how is this relevant to what I can do right now? How do I get into what's happening now? That's a great question. This is the larger fib. The overall fib for the move shows me that the move, is to this 185.9. Let's call it 186, right? And so now we got to figure out, how do we get in on what's happening? Happy Sunday, y'all. I'm sorry, I'm choked up from coughing. I hope you guys are doing well. My name is Casey, and what I'm going to do today is a top-down analysis on Euro NZD. Now, it doesn't matter if you're a swing trader, doesn't matter if you're a scalper. No matter what type of trader you are, top-down analysis should be in your repertoire because it's going to give you overall insight into the market and how you should approach it. Now, what I do on this channel, it doesn't matter if you're new, doesn't matter if you're experienced. If you haven't found a consistent way or approach to the market, this channel is for you. This video is for you, and you should watch it all the way to the end, because I'm going to go through step by step and show you exactly my approach to the market. What I'm doing right now is I am identifying my key levels of support and resistance. These are areas where price has a high probability to reverse, and I do that on each time frame. So I'm starting off on the monthly, and I am using the Smart Trader platform. I'm just going to double check to make sure that the levels that I've chosen are what the system identifies to. You'll see that the system as resistance 1 picked up 1.82224, but I'm not going to choose that because we are 9 days away from this last candle closing out, and this up here may become our new high, 185. So I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to turn this off, and then I'm going to go to smart support, make sure that the levels that I've chosen are correct. And it looks like I've picked up all 5 that the system has identified. So I'm going to turn that off, and then I'm going to go to the weekly. And guess what I'm going to do? The same thing. So I'm not going to count this as a level of support based off of this low here. In looking left, I've got a level based off of here. I've got a low and then 2 candles to the left that are higher, 2 candles to the right that are higher. Let me change this so I know that this is the weekly. Excuse me. I am so sorry. I want to thank everybody who gave me well wishes last week. I had excuse me. Lord, I had traveled and caught a cold from someone while traveling, and I learned a very valuable lesson. I need to wear a mask all the time myself so that when people forget theirs and they're sick on the plane, I'll still be protected somewhat. Okay. So this is good for me. I'm good. So now I'm going to drill down to the daily. Now let me go back. So you'll see that the trend has been to the upside, bullish. All of this year, majority of this year. No, all of this year. That was 2022. Price found support in April of last year, and it's been pushing to the upside ever since. And so now I'm going to go into the daily, and I'm just going to do the same thing that I just did. You'll see that we found resistance at the weekly level, and we've been pushing to the downside since August of last year, or not last year, this year, I'm sorry. Since August of this year, price moved a total of almost 1,000 pips to the downside on Euro NZD. And so you'll see for the last few days, what is this, about 10 or 12, we've been moving to the upside for a total of 670 something pips. So price is definitely due for a reversal. This is a bullish move, right? So on the daily, we're bullish. On the weekly, we're bullish. On the monthly, we're bullish. So price has been moving to that upside. Now let me change this over. This is daily. And so I'm just going to add my levels in here. And if you don't know what a high or a low is, I definitely recommend swing high, swing low. Go to the mini course. I break that down and give you a whole lot more in there too. You can find the description in the video You can find the link in the video description to get you there. It's no cost. It's free. Okay. So I think I'm good here. I want to go down. Let me make sure. Let me double check. No, I forgot one. I forgot two. So now I'm good. All right. So I want to go down to the 4 hour. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I see a level here. Right? We got a 4 hour level here. And then I want to identify my next low. Here's a low. Here's a low. And here's a low. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. I did. Here's a low. All right. So now that I've done that, I only go to the 4 hour because I do intraday and swing trades, right? So that's all the information I need. But it doesn't matter if you're a scalper. It doesn't matter what kind of trader you are. You can go down as low as you need to know. But I will note that the higher time frame levels of key levels of support and resistance hold up pretty strong. So daily, weekly, monthly, those are pretty strong. On the lower time frames, they don't hold up as well. And so what I want to do now is I want to go through. I want to see where I am in the Fib sequence. Y'all know what happened here. This was March of 2020. We saw price push down, create a new high, spike up. Then the sellers came into the market, pushed price back down. So we had an A high, a B low, less than 38.2 pullback. And 2 months ago, August, we reached that 38.2, which is significant to note. And theoretically, if price is moving to the downside, it could finish off this sequence by hitting this D extension if we're going to get sales. So I'm going to go down to the weekly. And I just want to see where we are in the Fib sequence. So I'm going to go to the lowest point. I'm going to click on my last low. That has finished, right? So I'm not interested in that. I'm going to click on my next low. This is what's going on right now to the upside. So we had an A low, a B high, less than 38.2 pullback, and price looks to have stalled. So on the bigger scale, on the weekly, you got this setting up for a potential longer term move to the downside. A low, B high, less than 38.2. Price looks to have rejected off of that weekly level and started pushing down. What I do want to see is where this would put us. So what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the move to the downside. And depending on where price that C, the retracement level forms, if it hits this blue 182.394, that will put us in line or in range for this 38.2 to be hit. So that's interesting to me. So this is what's happening on the higher time frame. This is key to note that there may be a move to the downside to this 171117 area before we see any type of move to the upside. So that was a weekly. And then if we look at the daily, price has definitely been bullish over the last 10 days or so. However, it did find that high, started to push down from there. Now I want to see on the fibs what we got on the table. So I'm going to go grab the smart fib tool, click below the last low. And I'm looking for my active fib setup. Uh-oh, that's not what I wanted. There we go. So you had that same setup here, A low, B high, stall out, pull back. It did hit the 38.2 here. I want to put, but I'm gonna go in order. I want to put a trend line, but I'm not gonna do that yet. I just want to see where we are. So this is what's happening on the daily. You're like, okay, but how is this relevant to what I can do right now? How do I get into what's happening now? That's a great question. This is the larger fib. The overall fib for the move shows me that the move, is to this 185.9. Let's call it 186, right? And so now we got to figure out, how do we get in on what's happening? So I'm going to go down to the 4 hour and I want to see what's happening on this leg, because that's where price is right now. So I'm going to click below the last low. And what we got on the table, a potential beautiful setup. So I'm going to tell y'all what I see. This is on the 4 hour. We have an A low. We have a B high. We have a very shallow retracement up against daily support, the 118127. So the potential take profit is right up against a daily level, which is significant. And typically when we see this happen, that price is on the bend, right? Moving so fast to the upside, and it's so strong to the upside that usually it does not have enough momentum to hit the D extension, 618 D extension. So a lot of times what we'll see, majority of the time, we see that it stalls out at this 118127, comes back for a deeper retracement before continuing and finishing to the upside, right? So this is right now what I see, a potential play on the table if price did complete at this or reject off of this daily level, at least 260 pips to the 38.2. So we would trade it down to the 38.2 with potential. You see that there is a 4 hour level of support at the 618 structure with potential for price to move further. Now, I've seen it where price reacts at the 38.2 and turns around quick. And I've seen, where price goes for a deeper retracement. 618 level is ideal where we want to be, but you have to make a choice, to safely trade to the 38.2. That's what I do. Depending on the conditions, depending on what's happening on the fundamental side, I may move my stop loss into profit and ride it out to a deeper retracement, or take some off the table, meaning close part of the trade at the 38.2 and then let the other part run. That's going to be up to you, personal choice, whatever, you want. But looking at this, I see a potentially great setup. Now, the alternative is, just because this happens majority of the time does not mean it's going to happen all of the time. There is still potential for price to complete the sequence, break through these daily levels and complete all the way up. And maybe even go to this weekly level, right? There's that potential too. The other one I mentioned was price hitting this level and then coming back to the 618 before we see or can determine what the next moves are. And so the way that I would set this up, because I'm not entering just off of a level, I would want to see, and I'm going to grab my ray tool, I want to see some bearish confirmation to the downside. And so on the lower time frame, I want to see price break. And let me get rid of this. I'm going to drill down even further on the hour. Yep. So on what I see here, A, B, it has not hit the 38.2 here. So we may see this pull back, then push up and complete, or it may complete this sequence and then start to break down. But what I want to see is I want to see price break through here, bearish. And then what's going to be confirmation for me is it testing the backside of the trend line and then continuing to push down from there. That's what I want to see. I'm not entering unless I get it. But let me go back to the 4 and put this fib sequence on here. So the way I would set this up is I'm only going, ideally, because price could push all the way up to the second level, 183. Ideally, your stop would be here, but that's a whole lot of pips, right? That's got to be at least 80, 90, 124. Right. So yeah, no, ideally, that would be your stop. But to make sure that you mitigate the risk and the exposure, I would need bearish confirmation before I execute anything. And the way that I would set that up, I'm not going to go all the way up there. We're going to look here. And then I am going to set this up like this. And we are going to, this is a good setup. If we get it, right? If we get it, your potential risk is half of what it was before. So 60 pips in order to gain 264. This makes sense all day. But just remember, the possibility is that price, depending on, I got to go look and see what's happening on the fundamental side with either the New Zealand dollar or the euro, that price could break above this first daily resistance, and it could break above and hit that D extension before coming down, or it could break above and stop just before the 618 and then make its way down. So this is the potential setup that I see overall on a higher time frame. Remember, I thought that there was potential to the downside to 17117. And so what I'd be looking for is potential sales unto this level. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Did you get in on the move to the upside? I'm so salty that I missed that. And then what are you thinking for the upcoming week on this pair? And if you found this video to be helpful, if you learned anything new at all, consider giving it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. I try to put out videos on a pretty consistent basis. Some are talking, some are me actually going through the chart, showing you step by step what I'm doing. And then if you're looking for a group of no cost and you want to be around people who are just about the trading, no hype, no fluff, make sure that you check out the link in the video description that says join my no cost forex Facebook mastermind group. All right. So I appreciate you watching this video. I will see you on the next one. I hope you have a phenomenal trading week. Bye.